The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Talkin Cowboys.
Streaming live from Dallas Cowboys training camp
In Oxnard, California.
C.D. Lamb, touchdown.
Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Yeomans.
It's a training camp edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the practice field in Oxnard, California. It is a Thursday. It is joint practice day as the Los Angeles Rams come to town in just a matter of hours, right behind where we're seated. Welcome in, everybody. Alongside Patrik "No C" Walker, Josh Rodriguez, we've got Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us here on this Thursday morning. There is plenty to get to. Patrik "No C" Walker.
Yes, sir.
It's a busy day here in Oxnard, but
Little bit.
before we get into Oxnard, I do want to congratulate Isaiah Stanback.
Yes.
Isaiah
Let's
Stanback
go.
made his Good Morning Football debut today, did a phenomenal job. He popped on for a segment. I believe there's more to come is what he said. I don't want to spoil everything for the Good Morning Football crew or for Isaiah, but more to come. If you missed it, they popped on. They talked about his time with the Cowboys. They talked about his position flex back in the day, time with Tom Brady in the quarterback room in New England. And then they brought up his wrestling career, which I know Isaiah probably loved. Did you guys get a chance to watch it?
Yes, it's actually on YouTube right now. If you guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go check it out right now, just go to YouTube, Good Morning Football. It's right there. I believe it's a 9-minute segment.
Yeah.
Sensational job. Isaiah absolutely blessed that panel with his knowledge and presence. And, it was fun. And like you said, he had a blast talking about the wrestling, the fact that he went down to the Performance Center in Orlando, and he had never been more sore than he had been after that day, despite, and this is a former NFL player, so that tells you, ladies and gentlemen, wrestling ain't fake.
No, not at all. It was great to see Isaiah Stanback, total class.
Yeah.
Absolutely kill his segment. And not only that, but bring up wrestling too, which I'm a fan of. But as a real friend, I got up at the crack of dawn. I did not know that it was going to be available on YouTube. So I watched it live.
Yep.
Congrats to Isaiah Stanback. It was great.
See, I woke up at 5. I set my alarm, 5 o'clock Pacific time. And honestly, they're in L.A. now. They used to film the show in New York, so it was 8 a.m. Eastern time. But now they're in L.A., so they were just as early as we were, if not earlier. So I thought, you know what? I can get up. I can get up at 5 a.m. and watch it. He came on about 5:45, so I'm glad I did to watch it live. But I've seen it like 4 times since then because it's on social, it's on YouTube. It was on in the gym when we were doing our morning workouts.
Nice.
Like, it was just a great segment, and he was just himself. That's
really
the cool
was.
thing
that
about
was beautiful, boy. And I love you to death, Isaiah. And I just want you to know I did wake up with my alarm at 5, but by the time your segment had come on, something went wrong. And I found myself waking back up at like 7:10. So YouTube is where it's at right now if you want to check that out.
I think he'll forgive you.
It is
I
on
think
YouTube.
he will.
And we were wondering where he was yesterday. It was like, oh, I haven't seen Isaiah all day. He wasn't in the lunchroom.
Hollywood.
He's out in Hollywood.
Hollywood Zay.
Yeah.
He's killing it. And
Hollywood
we're like,
Zay.
I wonder why he's not here. Oh, wait. He's going to be on national television.
What he was
Morning
probably
football.
doing was just sleeping in the hotel room. I'm sure the car
That's fair.
The car picked him up, and he said,
Room
I've got a what
service.
call time this morning? A 3 a.m. call time this
You
morning?
think he travels first class?
Of course he did.
Oh.
Of course he did.
Because
Come on
that's
now.
how he goes.
No doubt.
Group
Well,
1.
Isaiah, please stand up. He was great. Looking forward to hearing more from Isaiah, both on Good Morning Football, and then, of course, once we return to Frisco, he'll be back on Talking Cowboys full-time this year. You don't have to miss Isaiah. Don't worry. He's not going anywhere. But it was really cool to see him this morning. Let's get into some news and notes because, like I said, busy day here in Oxnard.
So we'll start with a couple of injury updates. Ryan Flanoy, the rookie 6th-round pick, he has missed several practices over the past couple weeks as he deals with a knee issue, but he was back in full pads earlier this week, and he participated in the mock game and walkthrough on yesterday. So Ryan Flanoy, he's making progress, which would add that much more firepower to the wide receiver battle to come as the first preseason game approaches. Don't know if he'll be cleared for that quite yet, but keep an eye on that. Luke Schoonmaker Here's a big one. He only missed a couple of practices or so with a groin injury, but we talk about this with Luke Schoonmaker. Health is going to be paramount for him. He has to stay on the field, but he's back on the field. He was there in the mock game yesterday. He participated in 7-on-7 drills on Tuesday. Progress being made there. From there, we move to transactions. Sam Williams was moved to the injured reserve. Season ending, unfortunately, with the torn ACL, partial tear in his MCL. Cowboys made 3 signings, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
But in order to make room for that, because they're maxed at 90 plus 1 with Giselle Jackson, the IPP exception, CD Lamb, don't panic. Okay, don't panic. He was moved to the did not report reserve list. It was to make room for the 3 signings we're going to talk about. And Byron Vaughn's undrafted free agent at linebacker, he was released to make room for these guys. Albert Huggins, undrafted out of 2019. We'll get into his background, but defensive tackle. And then we have Nick Vigil, former 3rd-round pick out of Utah State, linebacker, and Darius Harris, undrafted out of Utah State in 2019, linebacker as well. So 2 linebackers and a defensive tackle. Mike Zimmer's influence is being wielded on this roster right now.
I really like the additions. I like some of it's a late camp signing, so the expectation should not be high. But the rotation is there, and the possibility is there. I want to get to that in a moment. Let's start with CeeDee Lamb, though. That's a move that can be reversed at any time, correct? I just want to make it known.
It's the do not panic list, actually, not the do not. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
Yeah.
It's
I like that.
The DNP.
I like that.
Did not participate, but it's do not panic.
Do not panic.
I like that. And I tell you what, Kyle, what's today's date?
It's August 8th.
Oh, it's 8/8. Oh, fantastic day to sign CeeDee
Is that a
Lamb.
little foreshadowing?
It is 8/8. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying.
If something happens today, I'm clipping this, and Patrick's going to look like the biggest genius to ever walk the earth.
just
More so
saying.
than he already does.
Today's 8/8.
So, that's a move that can happen at any point. So the do
Yes,
not panic
absolutely.
list, I like the way that's phrased.
Yes.
So nothing to worry about with CeeDee Lamb.
Not at all. Things are still progressing. There's still active conversations between both sides. Offer, counter offer, counter offer. Still upbeat. And they're working to get it done. And it could land any day now, really. So, again, when it comes to the did not report reserve list, they really just needed that spot while they continue to work it out with him for these incoming guys.
I'm going to ask you a loaded question, Josh.
Yes.
Does he need to be out here, CeeDee Lamb?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I would love to see him.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Hang out, like just
But
go
capital
to Nobu.
N-E-E-D.
Yeah, I would love to spend time with CD like we always do. But here at camp, I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
He's going to be ready. You plug him in. He knows the offense. It's going to be great. With him, without him, I think we'll be okay.
Does the Cowboys offense need him out here?
Ooh, that is a loaded question. You're right. I think at this point the offense is installed. We know the Texas coast. I don't think you need him here.
Okay.
Until week 1 against the Browns.
You're not incorrect, but here's where I'll add something to it. I would like to see him out here as soon as possible because a ramp up has to occur.
Yeah.
Okay. So the later or the longer this draws out, and the later he reports to camp, now you have to start thinking about, is he going to be a full go against the Cleveland Browns without potential risk of injury? So let's be clear, CeeDee Lamb has been preparing and training this entire offseason, and that includes getting throws in with Dak Prescott and things of that nature. You've seen clips of him working in Houston, even as these guys are out here on the field. So physically, fine, he'll be right where he needs to be. But there's a difference between being ready and being football ready, right? So if he doesn't report until later this month, great, wonderful. Did he miss anything out here? I'm with Josh on this. I don't believe so, because this is the second year of McCarthy's offense.
Yeah.
The installs are done. He's comfortable. He knows what he needs to do. But as from a physical component, if he doesn't report until toward the end of this month, how ready will he be to go full speed against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland?
And I can hear the comments. I can see the comments already kind of flying in. Oh, my gosh, Patrick's so right, which I agree. I think there needs to be a physical ramp-up period with the team because he's working out. It's not like he's sitting at home eating chips all day and just watching Good Morning Football with Isaiah Stanback.
Probably eating his oats, though.
He might be watching Talkin Cowboys. But the way that he works with the team is significant. I mean, the reps that he gets with the team is significant. But think about it. You just talked about today's date, August 8th. We are still one entire month, one full month away from that Cleveland Browns opener. So we've got time. Dallas has time. The front office, CeeDee Lamb, they all have time to make something happen. I wouldn't be shocked if he's in Oxnard here in the next couple of weeks. So if that's, let's say, 2 weeks from now, so that gives him 2 weeks of a ramp-up. Is that enough time for you to feel confident in what he's bringing and what this offense is bringing?
Given who we're talking about, yes.
Okay.
It absolutely is.
Same?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay. Well, good to know with CeeDee Lamb. I mean, there's more to come, I'm sure.
But again,
this will not be the first time nor the last we talk about it.
I want to be clear. Like, I don't necessarily – I'm not worried about his conditioning. I'm not worried about him stepping into the offense and knowing it. He's going to know it. It's just, like you said, it's a matter about ramping up to it, which is understandable. But I think you can do that even when we get back. It doesn't have to be
I just think he needs to, as soon as he gets out here, thud him up a little bit. He needs to
take a hit or two.
He needs to be thudded up on the pads because when he gets to Cleveland, they're not looking across from him and saying, "Oh, well, this guy missed half of camp, so let's just pull it back a little bit." No, they're going to be gunning.
Give him a crosser with Dono coming downfield.
Okay, let's relax. I said, thud him up.
Chill out a little bit.
Thud him up.
I know we just talked about wrestling. Let's not get too physical here.
F him up.
I want to hear about these two signings. The linebacker signing and the defensive tackle signing. Nick Vigil, I think, is probably the more intriguing one in my eyes out of the two. Is there cause for concern at linebacker? Did they need the depth at linebacker? Because everything I've seen out here is significant. I love what I've seen from Eric Kendricks and DeMarvion Overshone and Damone Clark and all these different guys along the way. Did they feel the need to go get somebody else? And then defensive tackle, is that just depth and rotation?
Doesn't part of this feel more so like a preseason move, a preseason game move to bring in these linebackers because you like the linebackers that you have and be able to finish out those games, not necessarily putting all of the reps on the linebacking core that you have here that you know and love. You know what I'm saying?
Save the top guys even more so than initially? You don't want to have a DeMarvion Overshone happen again.
That's exactly my point. I didn't want to come out and say that, but that's exactly my point.
I mean, pure and simple.
Say it with the chest.
Yeah.
I'm saying it. No, the linebacking core that you have right now, I think is solid. And so far that we've seen here at training camp, I think it is solid. But I think you bring in guys like this to be able to finish out those games, the closeouts, right? That's kind of how I feel about them.
Okay. I think that, well, first of all, I love it. I love it from the aspect of, from what we've been seeing since the beginning of camp, we've talked about how these linebackers are flying around and the depth that this team has at linebacker suddenly, which of course is commensurate with bringing in Mike Zimmer, who absolutely demands high-level play from his linebacking core. But for me, we talk about a lot on all of our shows and all of our platforms. We don't necessarily like that the Cowboys wait until something is wrong to fix it, okay? So when you look at it from that capacity, Mike Zimmer is saying, you know what, I feel like I do have a lot of depth at linebacker. I feel like this could be a really good linebacker core. But you know what? Give me more. I want to due diligence. I want to make sure that I have the absolute best possible situation. So what do? You go out and you get a Nick Vigil who spent time with Paul Guenther, the defensive run coordinator with the Cincinnati Bengals, spent time with Mike Zimmer and the Vikings in 2021, dealt with a little bit of injury in 2022, but he's healthy again. And Guenther, who spoke yesterday, spoke very, very highly. I know where you're going with that. Don't do it. Wrestling. Spoke very highly of Vigil, especially football IQ, things of that nature. Darius Harris, he's a two-time Super Bowl winner from the Kansas City Chiefs, was a solid contributor in that 2022 run.
I said three signings.
Yeah, 3 signings. Yeah, so Darius Harris, he has 2 rings on his fingers, and not as a practice squad
Sorry,
guy.
I forgot you, Mr. Harris.
I got you. Darius, me, you, I got you, brother. But no, and he was a contributor in 2022,
yeah,
right?
Was.
So what did he have? Multiple starts in that particular season. He played all 17 regular season games and in the postseason as well. So these are names that the average fan may not know off of the street. These are players that Mike Zimmer knows and Paul Guenther knows, and they're looking at the linebacker core and also Albert Huggins and defensive tackle, and they're saying, you know what, not necessarily DT, but at linebacker we're deep, we love guys flying around, but we're not done there. So don't wait until it's broke to fix it, and I like Zimmer's thought process there.
Well, and Huggins, he hasn't had a ton of success at the NFL level. He's bounced around. I mean, Texans, Eagles, Patriots, Lions. He was with Mike Zimmer and the Vikings on the practice squad in 2020. Lions again, Saints, Falcons, and now the Cowboys. So he's bounced bounced
He's a
around
journeyman.
significantly, but he did win 2 championships with Clemson
He did.
at the collegiate level. He was undrafted back in 2019. There's been a lot of talk about the defensive tackle position and Mozzie Smith. And even though we've seen some significant steps forward for Mozzie, I don't know if it's necessarily calmed the criticism just yet. And it probably won't until the regular season's there either. So there's been talk about adding a big-bodied defensive tackle, adding somebody in the rotation behind Mozzie and Osa Odigizua, because outside of those two guys, who is going to be your defensive
That's the
tackle
question
rotation? Well, Huggins has a chance here to come in and at least show out in terms of camp. We talked to the coaching staff yesterday. I thought Greg Ellis had a great, I guess, idea about what these guys mean.
Yeah.
It just means an opportunity. They might be a camp body, but they could be more than that, and that's exactly what they're going to shoot for, and that's what they're going to try and find.
And especially with the cap situation that you have right now, you kind of have to do that.
Sure.
You can't go out and grab the biggest free agents out there at this point without having, CeeDee Lamb still on your mind, with having Dak still on your mind, and Micah down the road. It's going to be hard to make those contracts like that work.
You don't have to be in this salary cap situation. But that's a conversation for
What
another
day is it today?
It's 8/8.
Oh,
So there's that. But we also spoke with not only Greg Ellis, but we also spoke with Jeff Sconita, the defensive line coach, yesterday. And I asked him specifically, what did he see in Albert Huggins as far as the workout that then led him and Greg Ellis and Mike Zimmer to, look at Will McClay, Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, and say, hey, let's bring this guy in. Let's see what he can do in preseason games and go from there. And Sconita, he basically said he flashed last year, and that was in and of itself, plus the workout, was enough for Sconita to see something that might be there. So we'll see how this defensive tackle position rolls out. Obviously, to your point, Mozzie Smith's not going to be able to quell any of the concerns that Cowboys Nation has until they see him in games, regular season, making plays. We see it in training camp, but until it impacts the win-loss record, that's when Cowboys fans, and that's justifiable. That's completely their right to do so. Behind him, don't forget about Justin Rogers, rookie 7th-round pick. That's who Albert Huggins is going to have to compete against. Carl Davis as well. And then what happens with Chauncey Golston? Are they going to relegate him more to the defensive end? Is he going to be that versatile guy? Because you know what Osa is. He's your 3-tech.
Yep.
But at 1-tech, you got some things to figure out.
I think Chauncey's probably your backup 3-tech, right?
That's fair.
And then I think that's where my concern lies, is you're talking about an underachieving first-round pick so far with Mozzie, and it's going to be tough for him to overcome it regardless, because the defensive tackle position is a thankless position in the NFL. They will not make a ton of flash plays. That's just the nature of the position. Unless your name is Aaron Donald and you played for the Los Angeles Rams, you don't do a ton of that, and it takes a guy like that in order to break through the mold. Mozzie Smith is going to have that sort of impact, maybe not Aaron Donald impact, but have a significant flash impact in order to completely change the narrative going into his second year. But then outside of that, outside of your underachieving first-rounder, you've got a 7th-round rookie that you're relying on. That's where I have some concern. And I love Justin Rogers, and even the tape going back and looking at it, I didn't get a chance to watch him pre-draft coverage. But going back once the pick was made, I like what they've seen. There's some athletic ability. He's, of course, a big body in the middle that you can move around between a 1-tech, 3-tech. But I think he's your backup 1 right now.
Yes, agreed.
But if he's your backup 1 as a 7th-round rookie, I'm not necessarily confident in the position.
Well, if you think about it, we've had a really solid rookie class from the looks of it at this point. You might be able to rely on him, but then again, it's like the veteran presence would be very welcomed at this point. So we just have to see.
I think that's where they're leaning a little bit toward Carl Davis to provide that veteran presence there at the defensive tackle position. Only question is, will that be enough? How does that play out? Especially when you have some of the more proven veteran names that are still on the free agency market, and we don't have to go down the list of them because some of those names are well known and have pre-existing relationships with Mike Zimmer. But I just feel like as it stands, the keys have been thrown to Mozzie Smith. There is no question, no doubt about that. So you're in T1, Mozzie Smith. Behind Mozzie Smith, I think that's still TBD. I don't know necessarily that the depth chart as it stands right now is going to look this way come the first weekend of September.
Yeah, I don't think it will.
Yeah.
He's still got to earn his spot just like anybody else, and so does Justin Rogers, and so does anybody else.
And Denzel Jackson, he's another rookie. So, yeah, that position has yet to shake itself out and probably won't until the first weekend or the first week, I should say, of the regular season, whereas the linebacker core, we talked about these yesterday. We were battling between the top. We know who the top 4 plus 1 might be.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't have that luxury right now at defensive tackle.
No, you really don't. All right, when we come back after our first break, we had a bit of a building the 53 man last Tuesday, last episode.
Ooh, that's cool.
We're going to continue that. We're going to go to the positions that we haven't necessarily hit yet. We'll talk about the tight end position. How tough am I going to make it on you guys today in terms of tight end? How about you've got 3 to choose from? We'll talk about it when we come back. More Talking Cowboys right after this.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Life doesn't stop when the economy is uncertain. The market might not care you have a wedding to plan or a kid to put through school. And inflation doesn't know you've got a family to feed. But Bank of America does, and is here to help. With digital tools to help you save and local experts nearby, you can keep life moving forward the way you need it to. Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Quaker Oats, a super trusted superfood. Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome back in. Talking Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. Patrik "No-C" Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Yeomans. We are continuing a segment that we had on Tuesday. We went through the quarterback, the running back, the defensive. We went through linebackers.
Yes.
And we went through wide receivers.
Too long ago.
It was too long ago. But we've got tight end, offensive line, cornerback, and safeties.
Oh, actually, I think we did tight end.
Did we do tight end?
You asked me about tight end.
Because I remember mentioning keep Princeton Fant in mind.
You're right. Did I give you 3?
You gave us 3.
And then I added on a 4th afterwards.
Did.
You're right.
You did.
All right, so we're going to do – we didn't do wide receiver, though.
We didn't do wide receiver.
So that's where I got it mixed up. We're going to start with wide receiver, and I'm going to make it really tough on you today. So, of course, you've got those top names. You've got CeeDee Lamb. You've got Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert, Kevontae Turpin, and then I think after that you could probably talk to whatever you want. I'm giving you 5 names. 5. That's it. And it includes Kevontae Turpin. You can't cheat and say he's a returner.
No.
He is included in it, so those 3 are locks. I mean, CD, Brandon Cooks, Kevontae Turpin. You got 2 more.
What are we doing
Who's making the roster here?
What are we doing here?
2 more.
What do you got? What do you got, Josh?
Yeah, I mean,
of course, not every scenario is going to be shorthanded. Not every position is going to be shorthanded. 5, Beamer. What was that?
You have
because what did you?
Oh no, I'm giving them 5. I've got 3, so they've got 2 names they got to give me. See what I'm saying?
Well, no, but you just said Lamb.
I got Lamb, Cooks, Kevontae, Tolbert.
And you say you gotta
So they got to give me one name. One name out of the rest of the group that's got to make it.
You suck.
One name.
I don't love this,
So
man.
Beamer's saying Tolbert's a lock too, and I agree.
This.
I think Tolbert's a lock.
Tolbert is a lock.
Yeah. So okay, you got one name.
Okay.
Out of
I'll
the rest
jump right
of the
out
group.
there. Okay, fine. It's
That's why this is an exercise.
See, it's the challenge of.
How can you not pick a Jalen?
Hold on. The challenge is Ryan Flanoy. Although he's dealing with coming back from that minor knee injury, the Cowboys are very protective of their rookies.
Yeah, they are.
Very protective.
Especially draft picks.
Correct. So their rookie draft picks, that leads me towards Flanoy. Mm-hmm. But if you think I'm cutting Jalen Brooks, you are absolutely out of your mind. So based on Kyle's game here.
It is a game.
I'm taking Jalen Brooks as my fifth.
Okay.
Oh, man. I just for the sake of being different than Patrik. For the sake of that.
Racy McMath.
No, I can't quite go Racy McMath.
Okay.
I think I'd have to go Jalen Cropper.
Okay.
Cropper.
That's solid.
Why is that?
Crop dust. Because
no.
he leaves him in the dust, man.
You know what crop is. We're not doing that.
All right, how about I don't
think
know.
about that. You rethink that.
He's talking about the farms out here.
Yeah,
the strawberry farms
he's kicking up the
in
dust,
Oxnard.
and he's
That's
going
what he's
so
talking
fast
about.
he leaves him in a.
Listen, I know
he
these
does
guys.
a flyby.
Yes,
I know these guys
exactly.
exactly. You see what I mean? I know these guys too well. It's entendre. Beware the entendre.
No, it was that 2-minute drill the other day. That
Okay.
he absolutely on all
Sizzle.
three teams, he absolutely made the play for each of them. For the first team, the second team, and the third team. That was for me impactful, and I would really need to see that in the preseason game. I'll get back to you after the preseason game.
No.
I'll get back to you after the
His
preseason
game
game.
is right now.
This is a free
today.
country, Patrik. I can do what I can do
it's
what I
right
want.
here, right now on 8/8. So yeah, it's right now.
I
So
mean,
Jalen Cropper.
the decision will be made post preseason games. I mean, these guys. I mean, we've seen it so many times where there's a guy out here that shines, that just blows everybody away, that ends up having an incredible camp, and then they get to the preseason game, and then they are nowhere to be seen.
Correct.
It happens all the time.
All right, Billy White Shoes then.
One of those guys.
It's funny because Billy White Shoes did say that that's exactly what he doesn't want to be. He
Great.
doesn't want to be just a practice superstar. He wants to do it on Sundays. So
He wants to make the roster. That makes sense. I mean, if he wants to make the roster, he's got to show out in the preseason games
Absolutely.
too. I think if there was an extra one, so let me say I give you 6.
Okay.
Would either one of you guys entertain Tyron Billy Johnson?
Yeah,
I
at
would
that spot?
absolutely
Yes.
entertain it. I think
over a Cropper for you and over a Brooks for you?
Yes.
I think it's a conversation. It's definitely a conversation. And it's not something that I would say, oh, well, it's definitely Cropper or it's definitely
I don't think there's
Flanoy.
any definitely
Right,
after those
outside of
first
Brooks.
4 guys.
Yeah.
No, Brooks. I think Brooks is a definitely.
You do?
I do
Okay.
think Brooks is a definitely. I think Jalen Brooks is a
I love Jalen Brooks. I don't know if I can put the definitely stamp on him
Based
yet.
on what I'm seeing, what I saw last year and his limited opportunities in actual games, his chemistry with Dak Prescott, where that's going now, how Dak Prescott speaks of Jalen Brooks, how Mike McCarthy speaks.
He speaks highly of Cropper and he
does.
speaks highly of
But look at it as a collective of information.
Sure.
Right? So, yes, Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy, they're speaking highly of the Jalen Cropper and Jalen Tolbert, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. But also look at Tolbert has this extreme chemistry with Dak right now. Brooks is right there with that similar level of chemistry. Cropper has chemistry as well, but it feels like it's
who
just
has the most chemistry with Dak
of
out of
Jalen-
those 3?
Jalen Tolbert.
Out of Brooks, Billy Johnson, and Cropper.
Brooks.
Brooks
Cropper
has the
is
most.
hot on his heels.
Cropper he's
and,
up there.
And Tyron Billy Johnson, he's speeding up
I
behind.
think in camp this year, I think I would give the edge to Billy Johnson. This year. If I'm taking last year out of the fold, because I think Cropper was great last year.
Yeah.
Of course, Brooks had the camp that he did. But with the disappearing act from both of those guys in the preseason, Billy Johnson hasn't had that chance yet.
That's fair.
He hasn't had a chance to run with the 2s in the preseason. Of course, Dak's not out there. But if Dak Prescott wants you on this football team, you're going to be on this football team.
I do.
Plain and simple.
I don't entirely agree, but I see your point, and it's a just and it's a rightful point because Tyron Billy Johnson has been playing out of his mind in practices, right? So now how does that transition? But when we were talking about, especially me, when I'm talking about the difference between Cropper and Billy Johnson, it's negligible. Like if the wind
tight.
blows this way, it'll lean that way. On the next play, it'll lean that way. Like
If it crop dusts one way. Crop dust the other way.
Yes,
okay.
absolutely.
I can't work under these conditions, Beamer.
I would love to have this conversation again after the first preseason game.
But
I really would.
I'm sure we
there's
will.
less fun in that.
No,
I know.
We'll have
I'm
that
saying
conversation.
let's revisit this because it's going to be interesting after that first preseason.
No doubt. I think any way the preseason's going to go, I mean, whoever has the better games is going to have a huge opportunity to make this roster.
So close right now, it's going to come down to the preseason.
No doubt about it.
Period.
And by that point, it's tangible. It's not like practice where it's like, oh, he had one catch this day and then another catch the other day. If you have 4 catches for 75 yards and a touchdown in the preseason game, and everybody else has 1 catch for 4 yards, it's different. Like, it's tangible. You can see it, and it's all there.
If the other guys have 3 or 4 first downs in the game and you have 2 critical drops, there's no overcoming that in practice. If that happens in a game.
Let me ask you this: who has better chemistry with Cooper Rush at the moment?
Ooh,
probably Cropper.
Yeah, it's Cropper.
Yeah.
It's Cropper.
It'll be interesting to see.
That's going to be interesting. That's true. If you're talking about a leg up in the preseason
then the
game.
question is, really, who has better chemistry with
Trey Lance?
And I don't have the answer to that yet.
I don't think anybody has chemistry with Trey Lance.
It.
Sorry, Trey.
Alrighty.
I mean,
not right now.
The facts are the facts.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that starts on Sunday.
All right. You think the wide receiver conversation is tough? Offensive line. I'm giving you 8 names.
Buddy.
8. That's all I get you.
All right, 1.
I'm a little budget. We're in a recession, you guys. I gotta trim the budget.
I'm ready.
8 names is what you got.
You need to do some restructures. Your salary cap is
salary cap. We're fielding a 40-man roster.
Horrific.
We're trying to make the MLB postseason. That's what we're doing.
All right, let me hit you with this.
Okay.
Let's get the Tylers out of the way. Tyler Smith, Tyler Guyton.
Great.
Terrence Steele, Brock Hoffman, Zach Martin, Cooper Beebe, T.J. Bass, Chuma Edoga.
That's 8.
That's 8.
That's 8.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Right.
That's what you got.
Tyler Smith, Brock Hoffman, Zach Martin, Terrence Steele, Tyler Guyton, T.J. Bass, Cooper Beebe, Matt Willetsko.
Okay. Instead of Edoga?
Matt Willetsko.
Instead of Edoga. Has Willetsko played any left tackle? I don't think he's played any left tackle.
No, but I say this because if not for the shoulder subluxations that he has suffered as far as slowing his progress, Willetsko's ceiling, and I said this a couple of seasons ago, Willetsko's ceiling is high, and he's a young guy, and he's healthy right now. He's been healthy, knock on wood, thus far through camp. If he can continue to do that, and I know how much Mike McCarthy loves Matt Willetsko. He wants to see him do some great things. Mike Solari as well, the offensive line coach. So I think all things considered, Chuma Edoga for them is that veteran stability that they're looking for, especially behind, well, we'll see if it's behind, but right now it's trending that way, behind rookie first-round pick Tyler Guyton. But if Matt Willetsko can continue to show what he's showing in camp and, more importantly, remain healthy, then I could see him having a very real chance of making life difficult for Chuma Edoga. Because he has taken snaps, not necessarily in camp this year, but he's
in the past
swung.
Yeah.
Right? So he has ability at both sides of the offensive line. So, but it's your fault. You're only giving me 8.
I am.
He's
it
giving
is.
Me 8.
It's my fault. It's
he's
my
only
fault.
Giving me 8.
And
I don't see McCarthy cutting Willetsko.
The only thing
Not
that
Wally.
I'm holding back, and I agree with you guys to a certain extent. I think those are the names that are 8 or 9, whatever it ends up being. I don't see the availability of Matt Willetsko being stable enough. I mean, it's proven right now. The best type of ability is availability. You hear that cliche all the time. And Matt Willetsko, throughout his time with the Dallas Cowboys, has not been available at all. I mean, at least Chuma Edoga, I know he's missed a couple practices this year, but at least he's been available. At least he is a body that you can put out there. And if we're talking about 8 names, I know it's a crazy scenario in the first place, then I think I would rather have Chuma in that regard than I would have Matt Willetsko, because Tyler Guyton's my starting left tackle. Right. There's no question. Tyler Guyton's your starting left tackle in my mind. I think they're waiting to make that change official when Guyton is officially in a full install. I mean, even today he's 50-50 on whether or not he goes against the Rams because he's still working his way back from those flu-like symptoms. So I want to see Tyler Guyton win that job outright. I think he's headed in that direction. I'm not going to completely take Chuma Edoga out of the equation, though, as a backup at left tackle, because I think he can fill that spot.
And that's fair. And for me, I'll also say this. I'm going to cheat on your game.
That's fine.
Because you're forcing me into 8. I'm also keeping the practice squad elevations in mind as well.
Okay.
Right? When you start playing the numbers game, roster management, you start wondering at the end of August, who can I sneak through waivers that I can get back on the practice squad? Because if I can get that person on the practice squad, then guess what? I get 3 elevations before I have to make another roster decision on them as far as waiving them again or keeping them on the active roster. So, ask yourself, someone like Awesome Richards, for example, he's making strides. Likely a practice squad candidate.
Did either one of you guys give Awesome Richards a 9?
You're only giving us 8.
He was right there.
He was
right there after Chuma. He was right there after Chuma
You're
for
only
me.
giving us 8.
I think I would still maybe give the edge to Chuma, but give credit to Awesome Richards.
100%.
There's a lot of pressure on him this year to try and make the roster, period. Whether it's 8 names or 12 names or whatever it ends up being for the offensive line.
And he's shown improvement, particularly in the realm of strength. He's gotten strength.
No doubt. And I think his footwork's better, too.
Yeah,
there have been a lot of times where he was top-heavy, he was falling over, he was in front of his toes. I think he's got heavy feet and he's got those quick hands. He's able to make things happen.
I just say keep the practice squad in mind especially when you're playing Kyle's game, because he's not playing fair.
I'm not trying to play
He's
fair.
not playing fair.
And nobody said I was able to, or I had to play fair. All right, defensive backs. I'm going to throw corners and safeties into this specifically.
Oh, man. Come
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay.
That's rough. How many? 2?
No.
How many are you giving us, dude?
You've got Trayvon Diggs and
One,
Malik
and you
Hooker, and that's
gotta
it.
pick between,
No, you get 8 names there, too.
8 total.
8 total between the two. So, I mean, you could go 4 corners. You could go 4 safeties. You could go 5 corners, have a little bit of a rotation there with only 3 safeties. 8 names, I feel like, is fair.
I think I'm okay. Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, Jordan Lewis, Kalen Carson, Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Marquise Bell, Wanye Thomas.
So those are 4 and 4, pretty even. And
Yes.
rotate the 3.
Yep.
Wanye's got some flex. He could come down in the nickel. He might be your backup nickel in that regard, right? Okay.
I'm going to start from the top down, in which case it's Malik Hooker, it's Donovan Wilson, it's Marquise Bell, and you damn well know it's Wanye Thomas as well. Only leaves you 4 cornerbacks, so if you can see, I'm leaning right toward what he said. Trayvon Diggs, it's Deron Bland, it's Jordan Lewis, and it's Kalen Carson.
All right, this is too easy. You get 7
You
names.
thought,
now you got to cut one of those 8 guys. Because I agree with you. I think those are the 8. You got to cut one of those guys.
Well, if you cut one of those 8 guys, then
you're short at one position. I don't care.
Even Kalen Carson.
Is that who it would be?
Because then it becomes Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, Jordan Lewis, because Kalen is not a nickel right now. He's a boundary.
Yeah.
Right? So Jordan Lewis gets his nickel spot, and he's making plays every day. And then you still got the same 4 safeties. Marquise Bell and Wanye Thomas have to be on this roster alongside Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson. It has to happen.
You agree?
Quit playing the game, man.
But I don't.
Just quit it.
On the record,
quit messing with us, man.
That really.
Give me one more
You
cornerback.
made me wave Kalen
You want one more
Carson,
to add to the 8?
Yes. Give me
Okay, who would be that name then?
one more cornerback.
You get 9. You get 9 total,
Okay, now I get
1
9?
quarterback. Yeah. I'll add to it because I think likely they'll take 9 or 10.
Right.
I think likely that will be the number. It'll
Hold
be
on.
9 or
If
10.
you really wanted to go full Kyle Yeomans, you would have said you got to count C.J. Goodwin. You got to count C.J. Goodwin.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yes.
You got to count C.J. Goodwin. Special teams ace. You're not cutting your special teams ace.
Damn, Patrick.
Hey,
At some point,
it's okay.
there will be a day where he is not a special teams ace anymore.
Today ain't that day.
It's not that day. That's
Today
good.
ain't that
Okay,
day.
as long as,
So now you
you're
gotta-
confident in it.
Now, yeah, C.J. has to be on.
All right, I'll do just for the sake of fun.
Just for fun.
Josh Butler.
Why? I like it.
Picks.
Yeah.
It's the picks.
Plays the ball.
Plays the ball.
He's got cool dogs.
I
He's got
will-
$2.3 million,
I will see-
million
Oh yeah.
TikTok
Not to
followers.
mention the social media fame.
I'll see your Josh Butler, and I'll raise you a healthy Izzy Mukwambu.
Okay, if he's healthy.
If he's,
he's
I'll
healthy.
raise
Yeah.
you. Right now, he's dealing
Are
with.
you playing him
a
at
heart
corner or
injury.
safety?
I'm playing him at corner.
Let's go.
I'm playing.
I would
this Roman
100%
Kwame at
play
corner.
Izzy at
Let's take
corner.
him back
I've been
to
on
his
that train
South
for
Carolina
years.
days. Let's take him back to those days. Like
He's so much more comfortable at the cornerback spot.
correct. Ask Tom
Oh, my
Brady.
gosh.
So why move him to safety? Just curious.
I think they liked the length and they needed the depth. And then now they found they found Wanye Thomas, they found Marquise Bell. I think they're fine at safety depth.
You okay?
Yes.
What was
Come on,
that?
Marinelli.
Oh, okay.
That's good too.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's part of it. All right, there you go. There's our 40-man roster cuts as we try and make it
40-man
really tough.
MLB.
I'm not
Cowboys
here to
trade.
make it easy on you guys. I'm here to make it tough. All right, when we come back, we're going to wrap up the show by previewing the Rams joint practice today. And we've got an old friend stopping by the final segment here of Talkin Cowboys on a Thursday in Oxnard. Coming up right after this.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code Cowboys VIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code Cowboys VIP.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talkin Cowboys, this segment is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome back in, Talkin Cowboys here in Oxnard, California. Patrik "No C" Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Chris Beam, I'm Kyle Yeomans, and we've got our buddy back on the microphone.
What's up, guys? How
Talkin Cowboys family member Nick Harris in the building. Thank goodness. What's up, Nick?
It's good to be back.
You just bored? You missed the crew already?
I do. I really do.
Yeah.
And that is an understatement. I missed the crew significantly. But here we are. Another day, another dollar.
So careful. The break is listening.
Yeah, he always
Let
is.
him listen.
Yeah.
Let them listen.
Well, they always listen to our show.
They have no choice because I'm here.
He pulls you off immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you looking for today in the joint practice? Lots of good reps, lots of teamwork on both fields. We'll have some extended training camp lives, by the way. Nick Harris will have Patrik Walker on there.
Yes, indeed.
I'll have Brian Broaddus, Isaiah Stanback, and then you'll have Nicole Hutchison on there as well. So we've got a couple different training camp lives, a little extended version for you guys coming up later today. Lots of good coverage. But what are you looking for?
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of action. There's going to be action going on one field and on the other field. The two fields out here will both be popping. For me, what I'm looking at is the trench work on both sides of the ball. For the Cowboys offensive line, if Tyler Guyton is back out there, recovered from illness, and able to take full reps today, then I want to see how he does against Jared Verse and some of those other edge guys that they have for the Rams. And then in the interior, I'm looking at guys like Kobe Turner on that Rams defensive line. How much trouble is he going to be able to give Brock Hoffman or a Tyler Smith or things of that nature? And then flip to the defensive side of the ball. The Rams offensive line is dealing with a ton of injuries right now. They have 3 starters that probably will be out today. So you're looking at youth against youth in the interior defensive line. So how can Mozzie Smith, as it stacks on paper, he should be able to win some of these matchups. Can he consistently win matchups today? Steve Avila, who oddly enough was a rumored first-round pick whenever they took Mozzie Smith a year and a half ago, he's going to be a guy that he's going to see a lot of today. So Mozzie Smith versus Steve Avila, I'm very curious to see that one. But the trench work, that's where my eyes are going to be.
Well, that's going to be a fun conversation after this practice is over, is seeing how Mozzie Smith, the guy that they chose over Steve Avila in that moment. Now, it came out later that the Cowboys weren't really interested in Avila.
Right.
They thought he was a later round pick, but he's been fantastic. I mean, he was taken in the second round by the Rams last year, and I mean, they've been releasing these like under 25 20-year-old names, like the youth of the NFL, and he's been one of the guys that's been mentioned. So good work today. He's healthy, right? Like he's available. He's
yes,
good.
Absolutely. Yeah, so he's one of the few ones.
That might be where I'm looking at.
Yeah,
all practice.
I'm going to agree with Harris, and I'm going to start it in the trenches. Yeah. And another fun thing to watch will not simply be Mozzie Smith versus Steve Avila, but Mozzie Smith with Blake Corum coming at him.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see that Michigan on Michigan crime. Okay, here for that. But then I'm going to go back to the linebacker core and the secondary for the Cowboys. We talked about it earlier in the show. The linebackers for Mike Zimmer, they've been flying around top to bottom. Eric Kendricks all the way down to undrafted guys like Brock Mogerson, and then Nick Vigil. He comes in. Darius Harris. They participated in the mock game yesterday. Will they participate in the joint practice? That'll be likely. But I want to see how this linebacker core reacts to an outside force that isn't Mike Zimmer, Raheem Morris, in the mind of Sean McVay, and how that gets orchestrated. But I'm also interested in the secondary. Obviously not a Trayvon Diggs. Not going to see him out there today. Deron Bland's going to do Deron Bland things. But I want to see Kalen Carson against someone else in a different uniform, especially against a speedy guy like a Tutu Atwell. Can he jam up Tutu Atwell? And if he can't, or I should say when those releases happen, which are inevitable, will he stay in the hip pocket of someone that has that much speed, as he has been on a guy like Kevontae Turpin, although Turpin has been versatile between the slot and the outside boundary. So for me, it's the younger guys. Nashawn Wright needs to have a really good joint practice as well, because he's had a mixed bag this training camp. So young cornerbacks, I think the safeties are going to be fine. We talk about Marquise Bell, Wanye Thomas, they're going to do their thing. Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, we know what they bring to the table. But the linebackers, youth specifically, and the young cornerbacks, let me see them cook today.
I like what you said there, because when we were doing our 40-man exercise, the last
MLB
segment,
exercise,
the MLB postseason, there were no mentions of Eric Scott or Nashawn Wright. I mean, those two guys, I think, and while they're on the bubble for that significantly shortened exercise, I think they're also on the bubble in terms of the team too, because of what they have in front of them, how impressive Kalen Carson has been, because they do have guys on the backside like Izzy Mukwamu that you could possibly rely on as some position flex there. I do want to see that. Now, we aren't going to see Puka Nacua today. Which
You're
is
not going to see Puka Nacua, but you will see some shifty slot guys. Like I got Jordan Whittington here, right?
Yeah.
Jordan Whittington, for example, if you're Nashawn Wright and you get slid into that nickel position on any rep, you're going to have your work cut out for you. Eric Scott, he's starting to improve. Had a quiet start to training camp. Last couple of days, last day specifically, not the mock game, but the last padded practice, really had his best day. Can he translate that to the joint practice so that he can get off of that perceived bubble and make a name for himself before it's all said and done this offseason?
And they will have Cooper Kupp, right?
Yeah. Jordan Whittington's going to have a catch today.
Eric Scott's not going up against Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, no.
I did mention on the fan this morning, I'm very excited to see Jordan Lewis against Cooper Kupp. Just
that'll be fun.
He's been stacking days out here. You could tell that confidence from just having a healthy offseason translating to the field.
Yes, sir.
And you talked about
really
shiftiness. Shiftiness too. How about Kyron Williams out of the backfield?
Yeah.
Of course, you're not going to be able to see him really run the football significantly. There's going to be a hit that's not a thud. I mean, you're supposed to thud up a running back. There's going to be some hits today because that's just how it goes when it's a team in a different jersey. With Kyron Williams, though, specifically, one, he's going to be extra protected. That's how something like a scuffle, a fight, that's how that's going to start. As a premier younger player like that is going to get hit a little bit too hard, and something is going to unravel from there. So I don't think they will get near him. But when he's out of the backfield and he's used as a receiver, which we've seen Dallas use that quite a bit with guys like Zeke and Rico Dowdle and things like that in their practices, I'm sure Kyron Williams will have that element too.
And one final note, I'd be remiss if I didn't before I toss this over to Josh to see what he's looking for in the joint practice today. DeMarvion Overshown. I'm talking about linebackers. I'm talking about I want to see these guys flying around like they have been in practice. This is going to be the first time DeMarvion Overshown has taken the field against an opposite team since tearing his ACL. This is going to be a great chance to see what he really looks like in his battle to return from that season-ending injury. So absolutely keep your eye on number 13 in dark blue, I should say.
No, you haven't mentioned this name, and I'm wondering maybe if he's on the injury report because I didn't check. Cameron Kinchins. So I know you were a big fan of him coming out of the draft, but wondering how our wide receiving core fares against him today. Yeah. That's a matchup that I'm really concerned about as far as how these wide receivers, as good as we've seen them here at camp, how are they going to hold up against like talented defensive backs?
Yeah, he's a spacey safety, so
Yeah.
I wonder how much he can actually work in a practice environment. But he's going to be behind some guys too, so he'll be working with the 2s and 3s. We'll see a lot of him on Sunday.
Yeah.
For these practices, there's some position groups that are so tough to be able to judge and evaluate. Running backs being one.
Yep.
For me, safeties being another. Just because as long as they're in their spot and doing their responsibility,
It's
there's
gonna
not
look
going to be.
good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're going to look good, and so they're not going to have to make that hit across the middle. They're not going to have to account for somebody who has a lapse in judgment on the boundary that they're going to have to make up for. So it's there's a lot more dynamics that go on and nuance that goes on in a game that doesn't happen necessarily out in the practice field. So, but yes, Cameron Kitchens on Sunday, yeah, sign me up. That's going to be
For sure.
fun to watch because I think he's going to lay a hit or two.
Give me one under the radar name, one under the radar guy for the Cowboys today that's going to have his best practice of camp so far.
Patrik just said it, DeMarvion Overshown.
Yeah.
I'm seeing him fly around like that. I would also say Maris Lufau.
You only get one name.
Damn. Maris Lufau.
We're not playing. That's a good one.
Marshawn Nealon.
Okay.
And Marshawn Nealon, especially in the absence of Sam Williams. And if Sam Williams was here, he would be taking the first team reps against this Los Angeles Rams team in this joint practice. But those reps now go to Marshawn Nealon for the most part. Then you have some of the younger guys, some of the new additions like Al-Quadin Muhammad, Shaka Toney, they'll get some reps. But I think the rookie second-round pick, this is an absolutely wonderful chance for him to really make that strong first impression to say, hey, you know what? I'm not just doing well against my guys, our guys. I can play against these other NFL guys.
I have my eye on I have my eye on Cooper Beebe, 100%. There's a lot of interior talent on the defensive line for the Rams, so Beebe's going to have an opportunity to go up against that second team, might even get some first team reps. I'm keeping my eye on Cooper Beebe. Those snaps are starting to get a little bit closer in range on a consistent basis.
Yep.
Those shotgun
He's getting
snaps.
better.
He is getting better. You see the line of progression. So I want to see how that's manifesting as we head into Sunday because he's going to be snapping the ball on Sunday.
Listen, also shouts out to Mama Beebe. Because Mama Beebe,
she's out here working.
She's working. She, her and she and Cooper, her son, she's taking shotgun snaps from her son to help him in that process. So, way to go, Mama.
And he's going to see different types of pressure today too, because you mentioned Jared Verse initially, the first-round pick out of Florida State. The way that Los Angeles is going to use Jared Verse is a lot of how it looks like Mike Zimmer's going to use Micah Parsons. They're going to line him up outside. They're going to put him in a wide 9. They're going to bring him over the top and put him in the interior. I mean, there's ways that they're going to use Jared Verse that's going to challenge Cooper Beebe, even with those second, third team reps. And Beebe's taken some first team reps when Zach Martin's taken a breather. So I wouldn't necessarily think that's different today. I think if Zach Martin's out for a rep or out for a series, I think you'll see Cooper Beebe at the right guard spot, and he's going to get challenged significantly. I like what I've seen from a blocking standpoint from Cooper Beebe. It's the snaps that I'm still concerned about, but like you guys have all already outlined, they're going in the right direction. They're getting better as we go along.
I'm not going to lie to you. I am completely surprised and equally disappointed that Nick Harris did not say Hunter Lipke. It was right.
You said
there.
under the radar. He's firmly on there.
Well played.
He's flying above the radar.
Well played.
Jerry Jones mentioned him.
Yeah, come on now, guys. Come on. Now, are you going to go say hi to Stetson Bennett today? That's your guy.
I would
He
love
brought
to,
you 2 rings
but they're
to
at
Georgia
work.
Bulldogs.
We're at work, so let me just say it now. Stetson, you legend, you. I love you. Be great, prosper in the league every single time you're not playing this team. But outside of that, do your thing.
Did
Cook.
he bring them 2 rings?
Yes, build the statue. Ask Brock.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
Yes, ask Mr. Bowers.
They had a ton of talent,
Yes.
but
we're not.
It's got to be led by
I
somebody.
think Matthew Stafford
Stetson.
brought more to that school than Stetson.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. 2 Georgia
Listen,
guys.
I love Matty
It's a
as
little
well.
bit further
I love
back.
Matty Stafford as well. But what does Stetson have that Matty doesn't have? Build the statue. Stetson Bennett. Athens. Let's go.
Where did Dresser win? By the way, what kind of first name is Dresser? But Dresser win. Oh, he went to Tennessee. Martin.
Better than Ottoman.
Somebody's a huge Dresser win fan.
25 lighters.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How is Matthew Stafford going to challenge this secondary today, Josh?
Ooh, Matthew Stafford. Are we going to see him a lot today, though?
Yeah, I think we're going to see him quite a bit.
This is
de
where you do
preseason
it.
game.
That's what I like about these joint practices because
Yeah.
you finally get to see
This is their preseason
the
game.
guys.
They're not touching him or anything, man. So I mean, I think it's going to expose some things that need to be worked out, but more so, I want to see how the linebacking core responds to coverage when it comes to Matthew Stafford. I think he's really good at finding the right pocket to throw in and being able to get the ball where it needs to go. I'm worried and not worried about how the linebacking core responds to Matthew Stafford today on the field.
Matthew Stafford's going to take his shots. He takes them in games, so he's absolutely going to take them when there's nothing on the line other than trying to build chemistry with his guys. So he's going to take his shots. Keep an eye on that if you're the Cowboys secondary. Be physical at the line of scrimmage. Stay in the hip pocket of the receiver downfield, and just know there are going to be several goal routes. But he's also, with Cooper Kupp on the field, he's also going to be able to attack you underneath. So then comes the Jordan Lewises of the world and the linebacker cores. How do they cover that center middle of the field? So, yeah, Matthew Stafford, I mean – but at the same time, he's boom or bust. So, but when he's booming, he's one of the best in the league. But you can take advantage of some of his risk taking and maybe come down with a couple interceptions.
And he's a slot killer too. Just like being able to watch the slot receiver at all times. So that's going to be tough.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp helps with that. I mean, if we're going to act like Stetson didn't win some things, and we got to keep that energy. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it's true. It's true both ways.
What is?
I mean, what he's talking about.
One hand washes
Stetson?
hand washes the other. Stetson and Brock Bowers, Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp.
One of the best defenses of all time.
Hopefully soon, Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. Like, you don't win jewelry without the compliment.
That's
right. Troy
correct.
Aikman and Michael Irvin. The list goes on.
That's 100% correct.
The list goes on.
Nick
and
Foles
on.
did win a Super Bowl MVP.
He retired today.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Goodbye, Nick Foles.
He did.
Nobody's really going to miss you.
Also, another guy to keep an eye on in this joint practice today that I know we really loved during the draft process is Braden Fisk out of Florida State. That's another guy out of Florida State. So you're talking about strength and a guy that Cooper Beebe will probably be seeing quite a bit of.
Yeah.
Braden Fisk. That's gonna be a fun matchup there.
Well, if you look at really the knock against the Cowboys last year defensively, it was the middle of their defense. I think you're going to see the middle of the defense tested today by the Rams offense, and I think you're going to see the middle of the offense, that offensive line today, tested by the Rams defense. I think it's a great matchup on both sides of the ball to test where the Cowboys had some lapses in 2023.
I tell you what I would have loved to see. I would have loved to see the Cowboys secondary and linebackers get tested up the seams by Tyler Higbee. So Tyler Higbee, he's dealing with injury. He's not going to be on the field, but that would have been lovely to see, especially in the post-J-Ron Curse era. I wanted to see Marquise Bell kind of be tested in that role. Wanye Thomas get tested in that role.
That's what Drake Stoops is going to bring to the table. Bob Stoops' son.
Yeah, let's give that a shot.
That's what he's going to do.
Let's give that a shot.
It's going to be a fun one. All right, practice getting underway. It'll be a 2 p.m. Pacific time, so 4 o'clock Central time kickoff. You can follow Patrik No-C Walker. You can follow Josh Rodriguez, Nick Harris on Twitter. They'll have plenty of updates, and then stay tuned tonight. We'll have lots coming. I mean, we've got Inside Cowboys Training Camp. We've got Training Camp Live. I'm already missing. We'll have a new episode, a special edition up tomorrow. Yeah, Talking Cowboys. I mean, all sorts of stuff to listen to. You'll have the break tomorrow. It was fun having you back on.
It was great having you back.
Yeah, thank goodness. Having me back. Wait, having me back?
Because you've been out.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, I will see you guys back in Frisco. It'll be these guys and Nate Newton the rest of the way. It was short-lived.
He's got to get back to the triplets and the wife, and I respect that.
I do.
100%.
I'll be waiting for you guys.
And I hope they pee in your face.
What? Why? Why would you wish that upon me?
Dad life.
I mean,
has it happened yet?
Yes.
Okay.
But
I was wondering if you've been initiated yet.
I'd rather that than the alternative.
Could not be us.
Yeah, me
and
So 10 p.m. Rudder room.
Dads miss my dog, right?
Dads know.
Yeah, dads do know. All right, gentlemen, it was fun. You going to do the chopper with us again today?
Oh, absolutely. That's
for Nick Harris, for Patrik No-C Walker, for Josh Rodriguez, Chris Beam behind the desk, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. We will see you next week on Talking Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!